All.
Very cool. Tony, what's going on? Do you not like Marc Maron? Does he not like you? What was that? What was that all about?
Whoa, just dropping a big one there. I mean...
Is there a beef with you and Marc Maron?
I mean, I don't ever acknowledge these guys, these mentally ill people, when they, go online and start talking about me and my friends and calling us Nazis
Yeah,
or
but
whatever.
Tony...
So quite recently we talked about how Marc Maron's tour against the Rogan Sphere is working, but I have to be honest, I did not expect it to work this well. In that video I pointed out that the public perception of the Rogan Sphere comedians and Joe Rogan himself is starting to change. But one thing I did not anticipate was just how successful Marc Maron would be at making the Rogan Sphere comedians have a complete meltdown, which is honestly a beautiful thing to watch. In the most recent episode of the Legion of Skanks podcast, they ended up talking about Marc Maron and his podcast appearances, where he criticized the Rogan Sphere. And it's genuinely satisfying to watch these comedians, especially Tony Hinchcliffe, whine and have a complete public meltdown under the slightest bit of pressure. Once again, is nothing short of glorious.
All.
Very cool. Tony, what's going on? Do you not like Marc Maron? Does he not like you? What was that? What was that all about?
Whoa, just dropping a big one there. I mean...
Is there a beef with you and Marc Maron?
I mean, I don't ever acknowledge these guys, these mentally ill people, when they, go online and start talking about me and my friends and calling us Nazis
Yeah,
or
but
whatever.
Tony, you're funny enough. Why do you have to spit on trans people in the middle of your act every show?
Is Marc Maron saying we're Nazis and stuff? Is that the thing?
I don't think it's us. I don't think Mark knows we're friends with Tony.
Sure, but I'm saying is he saying is people are Nazis?
Jay wants to make it about him.
Wait till he finds out you guys are at 900 episodes. He's going to do a new special.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to be happy about that.
No. So what was what's his beef with you?
I mean, look, man, the couple guys out of LA that now, are at the Comedy Store that have talked shit when they have, their once every 3 or 4 years special that they do when they come out like a groundhog and do something that people might see.
Ooh.
Their new thing is like
Suck on that, Pauly Shore. I read between the lines. I read between the lines.
And
Maron, Jeselnik, they all are on multiple episodes of Kill Tony. They've always smiled right to my face.
Phonies.
They all fancy enough, coincidentally, never leave avails when they know I'm going to LA.
Wow.
They're never around.
Wait, are they?
You can genuinely see how salty and upset Tony is about the fact that Marc Maron called him out, which is pretty hypocritical considering Tony likes to call himself the king of roast. But if you're going to claim that title, it's not enough to be good at shitting on other people, you also have to be able to take it when other people shit on you. And yet, the moment even the tiniest bit of criticism is directed at Tony, he immediately turns into a spoiled brat who cries and bitches about the fact that someone dared to call him out. And I love how Tony keeps trying to roast both Jeselnik and Maron, but it's painfully obvious that none of his jabs land. Watching him flail around, desperately swinging insults that flop like a fish out of water is endlessly entertaining.
Jeselnik also came and killed Tony?
Yeah, Jeselnik. Well, we have
They've both done multiple appearances on Kill Tony, all pre-pandemic when we were in LA. And when they want to push things, they
No, but I'm
talk
asking
shit.
more like, did he recently say something about Kill Tony?
Yeah, I think Jeselnik's taking a bunch of shots, right?
When he had a special to promote. Now he's going to be gone for a few years. And, while I put out 2.5 hours of comedy content every week.
Wow.
And,
He did.
I don't blame them. If the shoe was on the other foot, if I was them, I would I'd be mentally maybe I would do it too.
He did make a...
I mean, this is extra cringe, especially when you realize that the only reason Tony even has a career in the first place is most likely because Joe Rogan couldn't stop hyping Kill Tony on his podcast. So for Tony to then act like some big mogul who built this empire all by himself is genuinely delusion at its finest. Now, in the next clip, I want you guys to pay attention to Tony because you can genuinely see how much Marc Maron got into his head. While the other comedians laugh and have a good time, Tony stays serious, and the moment he thinks of something else to say about Marc Maron, he immediately drags the conversation back to that topic in a transition I can only describe as very cringe.
Compelling argument. People kept saying to me, they go, look what Jeselnik's saying about crowd work. And I go, that is a compelling argument. Do I just suck?
No, not because of the crowd work.
No, that's great. Your personality. The fact that you won't go to hang out with the fucking Caitlin Clark and her boyfriend for until 5 in the morning.
He had a special to promote, and he's ending his podcast, Maron.
Yeah.
He's ending it because literally no one's listening to it.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if you look at the charts at all. No, it's a thing. No one listens to it.
I just don't get being worked up about the stuff ever to be like this, to go like publicly be like, this scene sucks. Like,
Yeah,
give
and
a
he
shit
also
about
calls
it.
everybody a hack, and then he talks about Trump for 3/4 of his special, calling him bad orange man, and then talks about his sad cats like he has for 45 years. So that's it.
Genuine question. How is Marc Maron criticizing Trump, a man who won the election and is clearly very popular, being labeled as a hack? If anything, Maron comes off as principled, someone who actually believes in what he says because he had almost nothing to gain by speaking out against Trump, yet he did it anyway. So this just highlights how delusional Tony Hinchcliffe is, and frankly how completely clueless he sounds. That argument makes zero sense. Now, I also want to point out that Maron did something very few comedians have managed. The only one that I can think of who might have been close is Jeselnik, which is the fact that he got under the skin of not just one or two Rogan Sphere comedians, but the entire sphere itself. That alone highlights how effective his tour against these idiots has been. Not only did he impact the way these so-called comedians are perceived, but he also got them whining and complaining about him, which is exactly the reaction you'd want because it proves that what you're doing is working. And when I say the entire sphere, I genuinely mean it. The entire Austin comedy scene is upset about him calling out the Rogan Sphere. You even have failed comedians like Chris D'Elia and Brendan Schaub whining on their podcast about what Marc Maron is doing.
I have a problem with everyone going on podcasts and talking shit about everyone. It sucks, dude. It just sucks. Like when I see some comic go out and talk about some other show that a comic's on, or somebody's bashing another comic that they came up with, or they're talking about how they don't Kill Tony.
But Chris,
What?
Chris, name no good comics are doing that. I haven't seen one like legit comic talk shit on another one like
there are no
in public.
Well, right. There's no. I mean, look.
Nobody that you respect.
No, you can argue that. Yeah, look. Obviously, there are comics that are above it, like Bill Burr, Chris Rock. The big guys, but they're above that. But there are people who are that are not above that, who made their living that way. Who made their living talking shit, who made their living getting clicks. They're not. They're the people that what are they going to do? They can't not do that anymore. But I mean, I saw a clip the other day with these comics that were, they were not well known, but they were talking shit about Kill Tony, and it's like,
It's hilarious.
Just, why? Like for what? For what?
Because he's the big dog.
I know, but it's like
when you get to a certain level, like people are gonna take shots. It's like it's a weird comparison, but it's like I'll talk shit about the UFC. I love the UFC, but I talk shit about them because they're so massive.
Yeah, I understand.
Like they're so big. Like
I understand.
It's just what you do.
It's different when it's a company, when they're talking about actual people, like comedians. It's like that shit affects people. Like.
Chris, cheating on your wife with underage girls, that also affects people, especially your wife and those underage girls who didn't know any better and were basically manipulated by you. Then you come on your podcast, give this speech and act all high and mighty, even though your own history is filthier than a used diaper. That's a little bit hypocritical, don't you think? And Brendan Schaub shouldn't even be part of this conversation, considering his career was a failure from the very beginning. The only person who ever considered Schaub funny was Rogan, which is not a compliment considering Rogan couldn't even put together a decent hour of content himself.
When Marc Maron goes, I mean, look, you talk about Marc Maron, like he'll go out and he will he knows that he has issues with people. Like, I mean, he's not like he says he's
that's his thing.
But to go on a podcast,
yeah,
and talking to a guy and being like, the kid, these are the words. The kid doesn't have an act.
Yeah. No,
to talk like that.
But what I'm saying
like
is,
what?
But here's my thing. But here's my thing. it doesn't affect Matt Rife, because what happens, what Mark's doing, Mark's a fossil. So his demos 45 to 77, none of those people are fucking with Matt anyway. It's not like Matt's losing fans or somebody's on the fence like, well, Marc Maron said.
No, it doesn't affect
Matt.
It doesn't affect Matt's fans, but it does affect Matt, dude. It like when I see somebody talking shit about me, it bothers me. Dude, I understand. It's like, oh, I don't give a fuck, and like you say, oh yeah, okay, that's a thing. But like you don't give a fuck because you go, okay, then I can't give a fuck. It's not because you truly don't give a fuck. That shit sucks.
No, you gotta not. It'll drive you crazy.
I understand, and you find the balance, but it just sucks, bro. Yeah. Like, say what you want about whoever's.
Who you telling?
No, I know. But I'm saying, say whatever you want about whoever's comedy. It's annoying and it sucks. Like when I see people like, oh yeah, fucking, Bert Kreischer takes his shirt off. That's all he does. It's like, all right, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? He made it. He's got his life. Or Tom Segura fell off, or whatever the fuck it is. Chris D'Elia fell off. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, for what? What are you doing?
Once again, this is a perfect example of how even the tiniest bit of criticism sends the Rogan Sphere comedians straight into whining mode. What Marc Maron did to these guys is pure psychological warfare, and they cannot handle it in the slightest. The meltdowns they have are genuinely epic to watch.
Make it. It's hard.
But again, those people that are saying those comments, like we all get it. Oh, Chris fell off, Brian fell off, Brendan fell off. I'm like, if this is falling off, sign me the fuck up.
If
this is what it is,
that's the truth. I wouldn't.
It's also no one doing well who's making those comments.
Yeah.
Chris fell off. Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you know how much Chris makes a year?
Yeah, I'm not.
Do you have any fucking clue how well he's doing?
Yeah. But also, I
don't like when people talk about someone. Like, I hate when they're like, it's a host, and then they're talking to this person and they're trying to bring up something as if they think the people watching are gonna think that host is a good person.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, man. Why are you?
The people they're terrible.
Yeah,
they're terrible. About, Name a podcaster.
You know what I mean?
They're fucking terrible, bro. They're assholes. They're shitty. And like when they pick someone like fuck this person, Matt Rife, whatever, or me, whoever it is, like, you know what I mean? Like they just pick that person, and then it's like. You believe them because why?
But Chris,
you believe who? You believe Amy Schumer? Who do you like? Who?
No one believes them. But my thing is,
well, some people
do you know anyone who's doing shit that doesn't get this type of hate? Do you know anybody? Name one. I can't name
one
one.
way or another. Yeah, from one way or another. Yeah.
Name one dude who's actually.
Yeah, no, but it's
money.
different when it comes from the fucking actual community. You know what I'm saying? It's different when it comes from the community.
Yeah, what community? You guys keep saying this community.
Right.
Community
Well,
full of cucks,
what's supposed to be
soft
the community?
people.
Well, it was. I've been around for a while. Yeah, there was a community.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
I thought at least.
Yeah, exactly. I think I believe that the internet helped to destroy that.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Because now.
But also, Eric, I agree. There was a community. There was a community, but before Rogan left, like those whatever 5 to 7 years. It was the golden age, right?
Yeah.
The golden age for who? Terrible comedians like Brendan Schaub or any other Rogan Sphere comedians whose career only took off because they were constantly kissing Joe Rogan's ass to stay in his good graces. The idea that was the golden age is genuinely amusing. So once again, like I said at the beginning, I'm genuinely impressed with the impact Marc Maron managed to have on the Rogan Sphere comedians. What stands out is just how easily he got under their skin just by calling things as he sees them. Maron didn't have to rely on gimmicks, he just spoke plainly, and suddenly you have an entire comedy scene worked up and defensive. The fact that multiple comedians, even failed ones like Brendan Schaub and Chris D'Elia, felt the need to jump in and whine about Maron only proves his words hit harder than they want to admit. His impact isn't just about getting laughs, it's about exposing how insecure and reactionary the Rogan Sphere really is.